Hello and welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras, and coming up in today's newscast, analysts arguing that Hamas is taking advantage of Israel's humanitarian nature. This as the Gaza borders reopen to workers from the Strip. Meanwhile, the political instability deepening as Yamina purges another MK from the party. And finally, Israel's second ever astronaut, Eytan Stibbe, returning safely to Earth from the International Space Station. Israel loosening its grip now on Palestinian workers entering from the Gaza Strip, but that doesn't mean that the streets are necessarily safer, as overnight clashes with Israeli forces and attempted terror attacks continuing every day. ILTV's Asaf Nissan reporting.
Israeli security forces continuing operations across the country and in Judea and Samaria Monday night. The IDF reportedly detaining at least 11 Palestinian terror suspects overnight, and in many cases, clashes against the IDF breaking out, with dozens of Palestinians throwing stones, Molotov cocktails, and setting fires to tires in the streets. Then, just south of Jericho, in one such clash, the IDF critically wounding a 20-year-old Palestinian man who later died of his wounds. But it's unclear at this time if he was a participant in the riots. In any case, among the suspects detained, a Palestinian gun smuggler who crossed into Judea and Samaria from Jordan, the man arrested with 24 handguns and over $1.1 million worth in cash. Likewise, Israel foiling an attempt to smuggle dozens of fragmentation grenades and 2 rifles from Lebanon, the arms thought to be en route to terrorists in Israel in hopes of attacking crowded areas. And this, just days after 2 Arab Israelis arrested for working on behalf of Hezbollah or Iran for the same purpose. Then finally, the Shin Bet also foiling a potential bombing terror attack planned by a Gaza-based Islamic Jihad terror cell. The 2 suspects arrested in Jenin, including a 40-year-old mother of 4, and this after having tested explosive devices. However, despite all this and several rocket attacks in the past week, Israel is still reopening the Gaza borders to some 12,000 Palestinian workers, security officials arguing that enough calm has been restored to warrant these easing of restrictions.
Joining now with more on the ongoing security crisis in Israel, former National Security Advisor and Research Fellow at the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security and with the Jewish Institute for National Security of America, Major General in the IDF Reserves, Yaakov Amidro. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, Israel is easing restrictions on Gaza despite ongoing violence and incitement. Many are arguing that Hamas is therefore being emboldened. Would you agree?
I agree that it might help Hamas because the economic situation is very important for Hamas. But at the same time, it is, a fine line between putting too much pressure on the Gaza Strip to the point in which they don't have what to lose. And on the other side, to let the civilians in Gaza to have enough bread, butter, and a better economy so it will be understood for the population in Gaza and for Hamas, which is responsible for Gaza, that there is a cost for violating the situation in Gaza and between Gaza and Israel.
All right, moving now to the Palestinian Authority. In the Palestinian Authority, and even on the PA's official TV channels, we again see imams calling for Allah to, quote, delight them with the extermination of the evil Jews. What's being done to counter such blatant incitement, and what can be done, really?
I think that if we want to keep the authority, which is responsible for the civil life of civilian life of the civilians in area A and B, to stop the incitement will be almost impossible. I was a member of a committee, I think 25 years ago, dealing with incitement. It is the DNA of the Palestinians to incite against Israel, and at the end, this is our neighbors. It's something that we cannot change. I think that all the hopes that by the agreements with the Palestinians incitement will be reduced were very optimistic. It didn't happen.
Well, so, I mean, here we're seeing these images of Palestinians throwing stones, and every night on the Temple Mount, Palestinians are... To watch full episodes of ILTV's Israel Daily and tons of other content from Israel, visit our website at iltv.tv or download the ILTV Plus app.